Okay, this next one is, I got it off of Am I the Devil? It was originally on Am I the Asshole? So the title is, Am I the Asshole for choosing my wife and young son over my grown daughter?
Wait, what? Okay.
I, 50 male, have a daughter, Chris, female 27, from a previous marriage. I am now married to my wife, female 45, and have a son, 5. Chris and I used to be very close, but as she's gotten older, I feel like we drifted apart. Chris recently got married. She and her now husband decided to do a child-free wedding. Chris told me she wanted me to walk her down the aisle. I, of course, agreed. Then about a month later, probably about 8 months before the wedding, she told me my wife the wedding was going to be she told me and my wife that the wedding was going to be child free, no expectations. I tried reasoning with Chris because finding childcare can be difficult, and she said she gave me enough time to find someone to watch my son for one day, and that I am her dad, and that one day is really important to her. Well, we couldn't find childcare. My wife was going to stay with our son while I went to the wedding. I don't feel comfortable with leaving my wife and son for the whole day, so I decided to not go to the wedding. My ex-wife ended up texting and calling me a huge asshole because Chris was heartbroken on her wedding day. I explained to my ex-wife that I didn't feel comfortable leaving my wife and son alone all day, and that maybe Chris shouldn't have done a child-free wedding. Chris and I haven't talked since then, which was 2 weeks ago. She ignores all of my calls and texts. I feel like maybe I was the asshole. Am I?
Fucking yeah. Like, well, so here's the thing too. Like, I am a little like, don't get me wrong, 5-year-old, yeah, definitely don't want it at the wedding. It is your half like sibling, but I mean, like, really, like the half sibling's not gonna remember anything. Like, and
He
if
You had ample time to
yeah,
find childcare.
you said 8 months, right?
8 months.
Yeah, I think anybody
So,
could have watched it.
for instance, I'm having a child-free wedding.
Mm-hmm.
One of my bridesmaids has 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
She's fully aware they're not invited to the wedding, and she's fully aware that there will be the only expectations I have are literally 2 children that are in my wedding.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Also, on top of that, I hate to be this person. I don't think that I would have invited my little brothers if they were 5 and I am 27.
Yeah, that is a huge difference.
There's no connection there. I have a connection with my brothers because they were born when I was in middle school and high school.
Yeah.
I was able to form that bond.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to form a bond with a 5-year-old.
Or a baby at 22.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, you go hold your baby brother, but I mean, like, are you really gonna form
I
a
would
bond
never
at that
listen.
time?
I would never talk to my dad again.
Yeah, I don't know why. So even if you didn't find anything to watch your son, like,
What's wrong?
I feel like your wife would be okay and understanding if for one day.
Why didn't the wife push him more to go to the wedding?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Like, that is such a monumental moment for a girl, especially having her, like, if she's like a typical girl, like, I know I wasn't a typical girl, but ever since like I got engaged and I've been planning my wedding, like, it is such an ample thing for me to have like a first look with my dad, for my dad to walk me down the aisle, like, my, like, a father-daughter dance. Like, when my dad got remarried, we did a father-daughter dance, and my dad started like my stepmom, like, she jokes about it now, but I feel like she was a little annoyed. The only time my dad cried at their wedding was when we danced together.
I mean,
but it's very similar to this story where I'm my dad's oldest child. I am 26. I'm my mom's oldest child.
Yeah.
Both of my parents got remarried. My dad had more kids. If my dad looked at me and said, I'm not going to your, like, just didn't show up to my wedding, I would never speak to him again. I would be so heartbroken. I don't even know if I could go through with my wedding.
Yeah.
Like, that's like a soul crushing moment of, because here's the other thing is every divorced parent, like every divorced child goes through this whenever their parents start like redating or like starting a new family, of like that in between person. Like, you don't really feel a part of either family, and you kind of feel like a plus one to your own family. It's weird, and you gotta work through that shit. I know I still am sometimes, but like for me, this is just such a like, you proved every single one of her fears of you starting a new family true.
Yeah, because you just basically abandoned her entirely. Like,
yeah,
like why would you do that?
you abandoned her on one of her most important days ever, and now you're probably never going to meet, if she has kids, you're never going to meet your grandkids. Like, you, and for you to say it's just a day.
Yeah, you would think that, okay, one, that's your only daughter.
Yeah.
You would, I feel like, don't, if I had a daughter, I would hope that I could walk. Like, don't get me wrong. I know like the tradition behind it is supposed to be like, giving away like it's property and all that. I don't agree with all of that. But like I think it's just a nice gesture to walk down. Like,
it is.
I just feel like that's just something that's nice. Like, I when it was my mom's wedding, I walked her down when she got remarried. I walked her down. So like, yeah. So it was yeah, it's an interesting experience. It's like, I don't know.
But it doesn't always have to be like your dad. I know people who don't have anyone walk them down the aisle.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when my stepmom and dad got married, I don't think her dad walked her down the aisle. Like, I know she didn't do a dance with her dad. And that was her choice. Like, it's up to your discretion, but it seems like this girl really wanted her dad to walk her down the aisle.
Yeah.
And honestly, he's lucky that the only thing that he got was a phone call from his ex-wife. Because that could have been a lot fucking worse.
Out of him. I would have fucking, like, there would have been endless things happening, bruh. Because he would never, like.
I don't think, like, if I was her, he's like, it's been 2 weeks and she's ignoring me. I think I would have blocked you by now.
100% would have. Like, I wouldn't care at all.
Like, I don't think I would have cared either. I think it would have just been block and that's it.
2 weeks. 1, she's still on her honeymoon. 2, why the fuck you think she's gonna be over that shit already?
She cried on her wedding day and they weren't happy tears. Oh my God, their honeymoon is going to be her literally crying over her dad not. Dude, you just ruined like the next like 3 months of her life.
Yep. Yeah. It's really sad, especially since like I'm sure she did ask him to walk her down the aisle.
Yeah.
And like nowadays, girls don't do that.
No.
Like,
I'm gonna be honest. I never asked my dad. It's a very well known thing that my dad is walking me down the aisle.
Yeah. Like, it's that's
and she like he literally said, I don't want to leave my wife and son.
Like,
they will be fine for a day.
It's probably not even a full day, bro. Like you're gone for like what, 8 hours probably?
Yeah, that's how long our wedding is 8 hours.
You already leave for work for 8 hours. Like,
what's the difference?
And you're gone longer because of your drive there. Like, what do you mean?
This dude is like an asshole from another realm.
Dude,
so top comment on this is, you're the asshole. No reasonable person can't find childcare in the course of 8 or 9 months. Even people who don't usually use babysitters can find childcare in the course of 8 months if they want to.
Babies
You
are born in
clearly
9
didn't
months.
want to. And the scenarios in which your wife and child could not survive without your constant attention for a single day are also vanishingly small. There
Yeah.
is nothing that stopped you from being there for your daughter except your own unwillingness to make it happen. Whether that started started in yourself or your spouse is irrelevant. Your daughter asked you to be a part of a once in a lifetime experience and to show your love, and you failed her. You failed her big time. Somebody else goes, you're the asshole, not because you picked your wife over your grown daughter, but this reason. And they quote OP, about a month later, probably around 8 months before the wedding, she told me and my wife that the wedding was going to be child-free, no expectations. You had 8 months to find a suitable babysitter for your son. How dare you try to make this your daughter's fault when you were the one who was irresponsible? This probably wasn't the first time you flaked on her, but I hope the Lord in heavens above that she makes it the last time and cuts you off. You do not deserve to be in her life. She does not deserve the pain you have put her through.
Nope.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah. That's like literally you basically had enough time to make another child.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
bro.
That's the thing that's wild.
What?
You can't have, if they were to have another child, you can't have your child with you while your wife is giving birth.
Yeah.
What would you do?
Exactly.
What would you do?
Where are you dropping off your 5-year-old or 6-year-old at that point or whatever?
Yeah.
Like,
what are you gonna do?
It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Dude's fucking, he was on something. Like, because it's one thing to like, you know, I don't even know how to like word what I'm about to say, but like it's one thing if your wife was pregnant and like she was giving birth and you missed the wedding that way.
Literally.
It's another thing to just not show up because of the fact that you couldn't find a babysitter.
Right? So my cousin just gave birth, and so she's gonna have a 1-year-old around the time of our wedding. Her and her husband are coming. Their daughter is in the wedding. I've already told them, listen, your mom's coming, you're coming, your husband's coming, and your daughter's coming. What asshole would I be to say your son can't come?
Yeah.
Oh, family.
That'd be fucked up. Yeah.
So she's breastfeeding on top of that, and she's still going to be breastfeeding at that point. So I said, I don't care. You can bring your son because he's not going to really be moving around that much anyways.
And I mean, like, honestly, like, okay, so I know in this situation, the dad needs to, you know, walk down the aisle. So he's needed for the ceremony and all that. But like, really, in your situation, technically, I feel like somebody could, you know how like with graduations and all that, there can be another room.
Yeah.
So people with children, or if it's overcrowded or whatever, you know, there can be a camera or something, a video,
Yeah,
whatever is going on. So the ceremony can be fucking broadcasted through that or something. But like,
my two flower girls and my ring bearer, my ceremony's gonna be a fucking shit show with them. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, gonna be a fun time, you know.
Leo's gonna go immediately to Shar, and he's gonna be standing up there the entire time.
For sure.
We're gonna have the flower girls' moms at the front of the aisle because they're gonna sit there and they're gonna stand at the back and they're gonna look at each other and be like, "Bitch, what the fuck is this shit?" And so we're gonna have them at the front so they can be like, "Come to mommy."
Yeah.
And like that way we get them down the aisle. I guarantee you they're gonna dump the basket at the very beginning, and that's gonna be that. I'm not even worried about trying to teach them they have to like, you know what I mean? Whatever. I don't even know if I'm gonna give them anything in the basket. I think I'm just gonna give them the basket.
Yeah, it might as well. I mean, just something fun for them, you know.
Exactly.
Make sure it tosses at you. during the ceremony, you know.
But it's like,
do you take
actually, I think Leo would sit with my